Howdy, folks. Sjporr here at Little Face Brewing. I'm sitting here. I'm killing time. I'm waiting for the last two participants to give me their scores for round two of the 2019 Sjporr Challenge Brewmania. Yeah. While I'm waiting, I was contemplating having a beer. And I thought to myself, I said, self, and then little SJ looked up at me and he said, Big SJ, you know what you need to do? You need to pull out a vintage beer. So that's what I did. Reached into the magic fridge here behind me, and way in the back, I grabbed myself a beer from none other than Dan Desilets. This is the beer that he entered into, oh my Lord, however many years back, the Sjporr Challenge. This is Ragtag Brewing's The Silent, I think it's Highwayman. Yes, The Silent Highwayman. An unholy amalgam of desperate parts. This was a 6.5 ABV, not a beer per se. This is actually, and let me think, this is considered a, not a gruet. This was a, is this a gruet? No, this is not a gruet. What was this called? Oh, I am drawing a blank. I will look it up though. I will definitely look it up. This is a beer that I know that it has horseradish in it. It's got herbs and other ways. I don't believe there was any hops in this beer at all. We're going to call it a beer either way. Oh, I wish I could remember what that was called. Ah! Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. But either way, I don't know what's going to happen with this thing. This could be a complete fail. It's a disclaimer needs to be done here. This beer was not designed in any way, shape, or form to be aged. There are several years on this. There's no hops in there for preservatives. This thing could be full of all kinds of junk. Hell, I might not even be able to drink it. But you know what? There is no better time than the present. Let's see what happens. I'm a little nervous. Will there be will there be carbonation? There is. A little hiss. Oh. It's got a bit of a tartness to the nose. Let's see what happens. I am going to try and be very... There's a head forming. I am going to be very, very, very careful with this. As a matter of fact, I know I'm going to leave a good bit on the bottom because I'm looking at that and it actually... Yeah, there is a lot. There is a lot down there at the bottom of that bottle. So I left about an inch in the bottom of sediment. So let's dive into this. So far, so good, folks. So far, so good. That right there is a beautiful ruby red color with a slight, already dissipating head. I'm surprised there's any head at all. 6.5. Wasn't designed for a head. Look at that. I am actually working it up. Can you dig it? That's a beautiful looking beer. Let's see what happens. Let's get into the nose. Okay, so I am not picking up any weird off aromas. I'm not getting any butterscotch. I'm not getting any oxidation. The beer does not look oxidized, which is awesome. What I am getting is there's a tartness to the nose that kind of, as you breathe it in, it really kind of gets you in the back of the throat, which is nice. It's like it's effervescent. I'm picking up, it's not vegetative at all. I wanted to say like more of a vegetable, like herby. That's more of a better description. A bit of an herbness to it. I am excited right now because one of the things that I remember from this beer was that Dan had used, I believe he used horseradish, and I was really searching for it. I'm actually picking it up in the nose. It's like meaty, you know. This would be really nice with a steak right now. Okay, moment of truth. Dan D. I'm scared. I should have went live. I totally should have went live with this beer. Dude. I'm picking up, I'm getting all kinds of flavors in this. There is not a hint of oxidation whatsoever. There's a, that burp was wonderful. There's a slight, I'm having a hard time putting descriptors together because it's still giving me a lot. It's giving me a bunch right now. I'm getting that, it's like root, like a nice earthy root flavor. Like, I can't think of anything else. When I was a kid, and we had a garden out back here, we would, my dad would grow turnips. You know, we had turnips, potatoes, red beets, all sorts of things like that. This is giving me that flavor profile, root vegetable almost, but not vegetable. I don't want to, that's not on a bad side. It's like if you ever bit into a raw turnip, it's hot. It's almost, it's very spicy. This has that little bit of heat to it. Not to the extreme of a turnip. You know, a turnip is very sharp. There is a sharpness to this, but it's kind of eases off with a little bit of earthiness. So I have that like root. It reminds me of like a good hearty root meal type thing. I can get what I'm trying to say. It's also thinned out. It's quite thin and finishes super dry. Really finishes off dry. Like it finishes off dry almost like a brewed IPA dry. You know, it really is drying off the tongue nicely. There's a fruity sweetness at the very beginning. The thinness of the beer pushes that Hard, I want to say, I can't use hops because I don't think there's any hops in this at all. Um, that hard, earthy flavor profile through. So it's a fruity up front, like berry fruity, right off the bat. It's a nice like raspberry, early berry fruit, as a matter of fact. And I'm getting a little bit of honey, a honey quality as well. And it's still working up. Look at that. Oh, dude. I'm getting hints of, in the middle, hints of like molasses, syrup almost, but not on a thick side. The sweetness that comes from molasses and maple syrup. I'm totally digging this. I'm in love with this beer. Again, I remember the first time I had it, I loved it, and I love it again this time. There was one time in the middle where I did a review on it after like a year or two, and it had a shit ton of like floaties. It was just it poured really weird. That is not the case with this one. I mean, you can look, it's crystal clear. Look at that. Oh man. And with a burp, I get the horseradish. There you have it, folks. Highwayman Vintage. Dan, if you see this, brother, I need this recipe. I don't know if you sent it to me before. You may have, but things have come and gone since then. I want this recipe. I need this recipe. I need to brew this beer. I'm out of here. I'm going to go see if the rest of the results came in. This is Sjporr from Little Face Brewing. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, folks. Brew beer. Brew beer. That is so cool. What, is the year on here? It might actually be dated. Nope, it's not. Yes, it is. 2014. So this was from the 2014 Sjporr Challenge. It's 5 years old. 6.5% beer, 5 years. And it's lovely. It is lovely.